What consistently leaves you disappointed, but you just keep trying? Life. It is beginning to feel like insanity trying to get anything worthwhile from it. Life does feel draining during these times. We're in a unique historical moment that only future generations will analyze and respect. However, one can appreciate their life with daily activities. Did you poop? Many people don't poop on a regular basis. That's a win if you poop. Go outside and watch a squirrel in the morning whilst enjoying coffee, tea, or a joint. I hate squirrels because they're destructive and eat my tomatoes, but I respect their work ethic. That's all I have for now. Enjoy the small details. Eat some fruit. Auditioning for film/theater. Huge reason why I quit acting. Couldn't stand the constant hope and disappointment, even over the smallest dumbest roles. Eventually I realized nobody is casting my type at all anymore. So I pivoted to working tech and I've made a career of it. Working a trade in the arts can be far more rewarding, or at least makes for a better paycheck. My self-esteem. My job as a teacher. If it helps, just want you to know I bet there are some students who do appreciate you, but don't know how or think it's too weird to let you know. I have several teachers that I considered my favorite, but never told them. As a college student who's set to become a HS history teacher in 2 years, the sheer negativity I see coming from teachers about their jobs is discouraging to say the least. Turned off reply notifications to tune out everyone telling me to not become a teacher. This is my calling and I'm more than excited about this career. When I told one of my professors that I was planning to go into teaching, they immediately replied to try to get into AP or IB as soon as I could. I didn't listen for a few years, and even tried to change careers after my first year but couldn't find what I was looking for. Now that I've switched curriculum, I would never go back. It's a totally different experience. That was the plan actually. Fingers crossed I teach AP World History. I know nothing about how the certification works though. Trying to make friends. I understand I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but it hurts being the outcast sometimes. I keep being friendly though. I feel you. I once had a therapist ask, how do you define a friend? I thought about it for a while and said, I guess someone who is willing to meet me for a coffee when I need someone to talk to. My closest friend moved during quarantine. The other friends I have, guess they are just acquaintances. I was so depressed and isolated and just wanted to get out of the house about 6 months ago. I asked so many friends out for coffee or lunch and there was always an excuse or they said sure and then canceled. I know they didn't understand how much I needed a friend right then, but is a cup of coffee really such a hard commitment? Makes me feel like there is something wrong with me that I can't make friends. Maybe I just annoy everyone and I don't know why. But I keep going. I guess sometimes that's the best we can do. Holy smokes, you took the words from my own mouth. I know the feeling. Especially the last bit, it speaks volumes. I know we're strangers but I'm presently in the same boat. Let's keep trucking together. One day we'll find some special friends. My problem is that I only make friends when I don't want any friends. Any competitive multiplayer video game with teammates. I've noticed over the years that I only get invested in solo competitive games. It was StarCraft and SC2 many years ago and recently I've gotten into team fight tactics. I can own my own mistakes and work on it, but I don't want to work through the ups and downs of good versus bad teammates. I love Dota, and I hate Dota. Trying to enjoy my free time like I used to. I used to read so many more books. I just can't get into it like I used to and it makes me sad. Social media/internet video makes it hard, I think. I'm working to decrease my internet intake, which is helping me get back into reading. I've gone from maybe 1 hour a week to about 30 minutes a day. I didn't stop reading one day, it tapered off. I'm working to taper it back up. 100% agreed, this is stupid to say on Reddit, but reducing my time on Reddit helped massively. I went from spending my lunches/breaks reading, to spending my lunches and breaks scrolling Reddit. It was getting the point where every time I pulled out my phone I instinctively hit the Reddit app no matter what I took my phone out of my pocket to actually do. Somewhere during Trump/COVID I just got sick of looking at Reddit because it was nothing but Trump, outrage, trolls in the comments, everyone being pissed off everywhere etc. and bullshit that did nothing but get me angry. So I made a concerted effort to stop using Reddit and start reading again. I got Readar and Lazy Librarian running on my server, loaded all my books onto my phone, and now I read during my breaks and lunches again. It's helped both make me less angry at the world, less existentially depressed, and has helped me rediscover my love of reading. I obviously still use Reddit, but now it's during work hours instead of on my time smile. You know what helps with Reddit? Take out all the subs like politics, world news, anything that has to do with shit like that. I made all my subs baby goats, idiot drivers, wedding shaming etc. stuff that is fun to read or look at without getting me worked up. Then I have another account with the other subs for when I want to see how stupid and fucked up the world has gotten. Right on. We've lost the ability to focus. Frown. Same here. I used to read so many books and then I somehow stopped. The last time I bought a book it took me almost 3 years to start reading it. When I'm at work I get pumped thinking about stuff I can do when I get home. The whole day you'll have this joy of going home and doing it, drawing, movies, home improvement, etc. Then I get home and I just get this bored feeling. Like even just relaxing on the couch after work doesn't feel right. Edit, my top comment ever is about my crippling depression. Love you guys. Go Ukraine. I do the exact same thing you do. I think about how productive my nights can be, but then I finally get off my 10-hour shift and drive 30 to 40 minutes home, and then when I finally get home I just want to sit on the couch. And it feels wrong. And then at the end of the night you go to bed stressed about work and frustrated that you wasted your night not enjoying your hobbies. Rinse and repeat every day. Worse is when you force yourself to do your hobbies and end up not even enjoying them as a result. It's a viscous cycle. Hopefully not viscous enough to raise your free time Reynolds number to the point of turbulence. Wow, I do the exact same thing. I get more joy out of anticipating how I'll spend my free time than when I'm actually spending my free time. It's so bizarre. Like, I look forward to doing things when I get home, but then I never do them. It's the thought of doing them that gets me excited. It's kind of sad how I can't follow through on things I used to enjoy. Relatable. This is more common than I would have thought. Even on off days, I look forward to doing things and then end the day by doing nothing. It's weird how at a certain age you stop truly enjoy your free time, either because you're thinking about how soon it might end or you're too exhausted from work to give a figure. God, I feel this in my soul. I'm off Saturday and Sunday. Friday nights are the bomb, feel on top of the world. Saturdays are alright, and midday I kinda realize I'm already about halfway through my weekend. Then Sunday? Oh, that's existential dread day. The Friday night freedom is truly the best part of the weekend. That's why I stopped going out. I'd wake up hungover at noon on Saturday like, fuck, man, by the time this headache goes away my weekend will be over. Spot on, like way let's get some beers and adventure. Then like next day and a half you're just on super recharge mode. Mine is more looking around the house and seeing things to be cleaned, folded, dusted, etc. Free time is an illusion, Michael. And as you get older, the illusion of free time shrinks. It feels like it lasts 10 minutes and then back to months of bullshit. Lately I've been hooked on a new hobby, and it's so much fun. But I keep doing that instead of cleaning. The dishes are piling up and my apartment is pretty dirty. I'm afraid to take care of anything because what if it takes up all my free time, and by the time I can get back to my hobby it doesn't interest me anymore? Enthusiasm is always a great trait to develop, if not for anything but your own satisfaction. I would suggest putting small pockets of time to clean because dedicating a full block of time for cleaning never seems to work well if you're just itching to get back to something else. Making non-awkward conversation with strangers. Props for actually trying. It's easy for me to speak, but funny enough, it's my body language and eye contact that I can't seem to do better at. It's like I'm looking at myself out of body and thinking I look like a dumbass. It's hard to break out of the habit of internalizing yourself too much. I once tried to make small talk with a dude I just met and asked him if he had any hobbies. He asked me the same question and I said I like haircuts. It wasn't at a barber shop. Not sure why that came out, but it effectively ended the small talk. The main aspect of awkwardness is uncertainty about what to do next, both for yourself and the person you are talking to. So try to work on that part. Make it more obvious what you are saying, and what sort of thing would be good for them to say. The conflict, of course, is to also attempt to leave your questions open-ended enough that you don't get just yes/no/maybe answers. Also, for the purpose of dating, It helps to openly state guesses and implications about the other person. Ideally flattering ones. I.e., what's your favorite dessert? If, that probably means you're the type of person who insert random positive / relatable quality / behavior / belief or obviously absurd scenario. Also, it can't hurt to get the basics of improv figured out. Main point being, yes and, where you start with a somewhat absurd premise, then add to it, and invite the next person to add to it. And just keep stacking things on or feeling out the implications / reactions of the premise. Usually never subtracting from the premise. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Don't forget Sunday night when you start stressing about going to work on Monday. Ever have this dread on a Saturday because you're reaching the weekend halfway mark? I've gotten ahead of myself and had this dread on a Friday. I dread pretty much every future event and obligation, so I am in a constant state of anxiety. I saw a funny post once renaming the days of the week: Monday 1, Monday 2, Monday 3, Monday 4, Monday 5, Saturday, pre-Monday. And Saturday since it's not as good as when you're a kid. Yeah, a lot of the time Saturday just fills up with the bullshit you have to take care of but can't do during the week. Friday, I'm in love. Growing indoor plants. Sunlight is less powerful than you think through a window. Water less than you think you need to. Edit, since this is blowing up I'll add to this. I was a wedding venue groundskeeper and thus have almost a decade of experience growing, propagating, trimming, etc. Indoor plants have become my new hobby, given my new job is indoors. Plants start with dirt. Sand plus perlite plus earthy mix for succulents and desert varieties. Orchid bark and minimal sphagnum moss for orchids. Indoor potting soil for many indoor plants. I generally add perlite to aerate the soil. It prevents root rot but hurts water retention. Microwave soil to kill off pests if you suck at maintenance in general, before you plant your babies. Next is pots. Terracotta and orchid pots offer ventilation, should your plant need it. Terracotta keeps soil cooler via evaporation, and more evenly dry, than glazed ceramics or plastic. Plastic retains more water. Dark color pots retain more heat and sunlight. Quick Google searches will indicate what may help you in this regard, but this is more nuanced than the rest of my advice. Next is light. Unless whatever is in the window is hot to the touch when in sunlight, it's less sunny than you believe. Start in steady light, and if they don't like it, move them away periodically until they seem happy. Different cardinal directions, N, E, S, W, are something to consider when picking windows. Next is moisture. My indoor plants generally like to have dry dirt for a day or two before I water. I push my cacti and succulents way harder in that regard, but my prayer plant gets pissy if it's dry for more than a day. Did you see fruit flies / fungus gnats? You're watering too much or the soil is retaining too much moisture in general. Some plants, like the prayer plant and Venus flytrap, only want distilled water, not tap. Air plants like to soak in my aquarium once a week. You'll learn this as you go. Use an unpolished / unvarnished chopstick to test soil moisture in pots. Lastly, pests and disease are difficult to diagnose at first, but with time you will improve. Generally speaking, quarantine sick / infested plants until you have it under control. Fungicide and systemic pesticides are my go-to. Doing the whole neem oil thing is beyond my time. I have 3 jobs. Understand that these chemicals are not good for you, so take them outside to spray / treat them. Eventually you'll end up with 83 plants in your living room, with your office full of rooting hormone, fertilizers, bags of different substrates, and cutting experiments. And you'll be happy. Cheers. Edit 2. Orchid care is a whole other beast, so I will not delve into that. But if you microwave your soil, add some puddle water for beneficial bacteria. I add my aquarium water usually, but not everyone has an aquarium. Otherwise, use sealed bags of soil from inside the store or pasteurize your soil with boiling water. Learn to test the soil with your finger. It's so much easier than trying to stay on a schedule because moisture in the air and the type of pot it's in also affect the drying rate. Just stick your finger an inch or so down and see if it's still damp. If not, water. Or do that test and wait a couple more days and water. My plants do better overall when they spend some time needing water. Yes, plants are healthier if they want for water. They will send their roots to dig down deeper to look for more water. Obviously more stronger deeper roots means a more healthy full plant. When someone waters too much, the plant's roots can just chill all small at the surface. It's kinda like you're forcing the plant to work out and get stronger. I find that newer/younger plants will need to be watered a bit more often, but my established deep root plants go for at least a week or more without water. I think the rule always given water when first inch or two of soil is dry only applies for the first few months you get the plant. I let mine get bone dry. I guess a good rule is to water when your plant wants it. Some get droopier faster than others and some kinda never do, so I just water those ones like every 2 weeks. Lol. I can grow cactus. I have a gangrenous thumb. I can grow cactus if it is already planted and I don't have to do anything. I was that way too until I finally learned to listen to the tags that say what the plants need and not just get the plants I wanted because they looked cool. Low light tropicals that are tolerant of lower humidity are the only thing I've been able to keep alive aside from one cactus that literally lived in a box for a month when I moved and inexplicably survived. That thing is my emotional support cactus. If it can survive what I put it through, I can too. That was unexpectedly heartwarming. I recently bought a cactus to give me something to take care of. It's low maintenance, but functions similar to a pet in that I have to be there to take care of it, but isn't so needy that I need to be there every day for it. Overwatering is the #1 cause to indoor plant death. Pick up the pot to make sure it is truly dry and feels light. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Found it. I knew it'd be here. Even though it's not a hockey-related sub, I knew it. Trying to keep in contact with my one-sided friendships. You have to develop a keen eye for people who are honestly just like that when it comes to keeping in contact. Not that it isn't valid to drop them if it's simply too exhausting, but there are absolutely people who are terrible about reaching out and keeping up. There's no malice in it, they just kind of bop around in life from one thing that keeps their focus to another. The issue is more in the actual logistics of how their lives work than how they feel about their friends. I've got a bunch of old college buddies who I certainly care about and am more than willing to talk to visit with help out at a moment's notice. It's just logistically difficult to maintain a constant friendship with more than a few people who are scattered throughout the country with their own things going on. Then there are people who you simply aren't nearly as important to as they are to you. You want to be in their lives, you want to be kept up to date and included, you want to hang out, and the only reason that doesn't happen is that they don't really see you like that. They do those things, they have that time and capacity, they just don't have it for you. That's not a friend, that's a delusion. I have close friends that are simply just terrible at taking initiative. Whenever we do something, I'm always the one that has organized it, and it's exhausting sometimes. I know they care, but I've come to accept that these friendships will never reach the level they could because it's mostly just me maintaining them. Ow. ADHD checking in. If it's not in front of me, it's not in my head. Man, I haven't heard from 30 in a few days. Oh shit, that was 4 months ago. Fuck. Then I feel bad and don't reach out. I can relate to this. I have ADHD and autism, and as much as I want to reach out to people, I'm worried it might look weird because I haven't spoken to them in so long. I just cut off my best friend after 5 years of maintaining a one-sided friendship. Took me way too long to realize she was only my friend when it was convenient for her to have me as a friend. I'm getting there. I moved to another state, and whenever I visit my home state I have a friend of 10 years that I only get to see once in my 2 weeks of visiting, despite staying 30 mins away from them, and seeing all of my other friends almost daily who live just as far. If I'm not meeting them halfway, and at a spot of their choosing, they will come up with an excuse saying that it's too far and traffic will be bad, so maybe another time. As if me flying across country to see him and my friends wasn't inconvenient enough for me. Only reason I haven't dropped him is because he will reach out to me when enough silence has happened between us. It's just hard to let go. One of the best things I did was to try to make new friends whenever I can. Just talk to someone. That's how I met my best friend. Just saw a dude in a Camaro, was like sick car dude. We got talking and found out we were both going to a festival, so we rode together. Still talk daily 10 years later. When enough silence has happened between us sounds like my old friend's pattern as well. It is hard to let it go, especially when you've known them for quite a while, and when you're together you get along really well. It's what kept me in contact with my friend for all those years. That and having very few friends to start with makes it hard to scratch one off the list. I have started moving on. It gets harder to make friends as I get older, but I have had some success, so that keeps me going. That was me much of my life. I eventually stopped caring. I don't want to force people to be my friend. I want them to want to. If I start to suspect interest in a friendship has turned one-sided, I simply stop initiating contact. Leave it up to them whether the friendship continues. Which, generally, it doesn't. Problem is, though, this has made me fairly antisocial in general. Even in the rare cases people do try to contact me, I usually don't want to talk. I think maybe the years of negative results has trained me to have a mental aversion to trying in the first place. I have more problems with one-sided family relationships. The people I see at holidays who I have more problems with one-sided family relationships. The people I see at holidays who get on me about never seeing my kids or that I don't call them, but when I do reach out they are too busy. It's very draining, especially when my oldest accuses me of keeping his grandparents from him. I just can't tell him that when I ask they just won't most of the time. I don't want to break his heart. After 7 years I've basically given up. I don't know how old your oldest is, but it might be good to sit them down and talk with them about it if you don't already. Kids know when stuff is going on. You could even reach out to a therapist to learn how to explain it. I'm really sorry you're dealing with that though, and I wish you the best. I knew in elementary school my grandpa and his wife didn't give a crap about me and my family. They lived less than a mile down the road and they never visited or called. Made me super bitter as a kid, and to this day I haven't forgiven them or have a relationship with them. I've started tracking via phone calls or texts who was the last one to reach out. Me. It's not a competition or anything like that, but it is getting really irritating when they come at me for not being in touch. My family loves to pull that phones work both ways card. From my perspective, apparently only mine works. I did a little experiment from Thanksgiving on where I didn't reach out to anyone, even on Christmas. It took until 2:20 for someone to reach out. Even then, it was only my grandmother griping that my Christmas gifts were still at her house, and that I needed to come get them. With that, build your own family. Nourish the people who nourish you. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button for more content. I post every day and I'll see you next time with more stories.